Hello creatives, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela, a graphic designer and an illustrator. Today we're going to be an illustrator on the desktop today. I know it's a little bit different from being on the iPad, but I figured we'd kick it old school and be on the desktop. I wanted to showcase some popular artboard styles and layouts today. I would like to give you tips that you really should know to help you with your workflows in Illustrator. So let's dive in. I have a whole setup here with different sized artboards, all based around this website and mobile site. So we have the website, we have the elements in the website and the artboard above. On the artboards below down to the right corner, I have the website colors, or the brand colors, if you will. Moving to the left, we have two versions of the mobile sites. So this is what you would see if you had an iPhone X. We have two views here. I also have a view of it on an iPhone X up here on this top artboard. And then beside that is the font that I used. So you may have seen different artboard setups all over social media. They are very aesthetic. I think that is why they've been created, is because they look so aesthetic. This is a completely filled, squared off artboard setup. I based it on my original setup of these two artboards here. The way to get to your artboard setting is to press your keyboard shortcut. Mine is Shift A, because your artboard icon is over here to the left. I changed this from the default, so you can find out what your default is by hovering over the icon. This is the iPhone X dimensions. It's 1125 by 2436 pixels. The artboard that contains the website view is an actual web page size, 1920 by 1080. I had these iPhone X artboards, and I also had this website artboard. I was trying to figure out a layout of other artboards to marry around it. There's lots of different ways you can move these around, manipulate them, change their size. There's also an option that when you have a artboard selected, like this iPhone X, let's duplicate this one all the way over by holding down Alt or Option and clicking and dragging over. I want to make sure that we have quite a bit of space separating when you're changing up your artboards. There's a very handy way to change your artboard size in Illustrator. Up here on the top toolbar, it says Artboard, and then next to it, it says iPhone X with a pre-selected pixel size. Where it says iPhone X, and you can actually click on that, there are loads of other options here for you to choose from. For instance, iPhone 8, 7, and 6 Plus, they all have the same screen size. So you click on that, it changes the artboard dimensions automatically, and you don't have to guess, which is great. Once you have your artboard changed, you can then go in, select all of your artwork, and match it to that dimension size. And if you want to increase the size or decrease the size of your dimensions at the same time, you can hold down Alt or Option and it will change the size of it in relation to what you're doing. With this, it does make it a little bit more squished, so we can move the elements around just by clicking in and moving them. And you have your new dimension set up there. Very simple to get that accomplished. Now, in order to create something similar over here, I have another artboard set up over here for all the elements and a social post. So all the elements will be down here on this artboard. I do have a artboard size here, which is pretty common. It's 1920 by 1080. Again, another website size. And I have a social post size, basically for Instagram, it's 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels. That is your typical size. And then I have all these tiny little artboards up here that could be any size you wish to make up the difference of the spacing for all the colors that are in this piece. I'm going to select my eyedropper tool to select the colors, and I'm just going to hold down Alt and Shift and click and drag so that way I can get all of my boxes to be completely aligned. Select one, eyedropper, you'll get your colors from there. I also have my colors saved as swatches, so there's always swatches available as well. There we go. So we have this color scheme going on up here at the top. I can fill up all my elements down here for this artboard. Just duplicate that across. For this element, I will duplicate it as well because I do have some of these set at 40% of the color. Also have the logo here. I also have that in two colors across. And for the social post, it could really be anything, but I really want to make it stand out. I'm going to take this logo here and I'm going to post it down here. Let's see, let's put it down in this corner. I'm going to take this one, this element here, I'm going to change it to our yellow, and then we can pull some just fun elements over here as well. So we've created a mini social post. However, it is kind of all over the place. A really good tip for when you are setting up your artboards and you want it to look clean, get your shape tool and draw a shape right over the artboard. A lot of the time it's difficult to select everything that's on the artboard with just selecting like such, because you will always miss something. So the way to select everything on your current artboard, go to select. Mine has a keyboard shortcut to this, and it selects all on active artboard, so you will never miss anything. All we do is create a clipping mask. My clipping mask shortcut is Control-7, but you can always go up to Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. And we have all of our elements at play here. Always use your line tools. Your line tools will save you a lot of the time. Definitely utilize your clipping masks, and the layouts of these are all based on one central artboard. For instance, with this one, let me get to my artboards. I based it all around this 1920 by 1080 artboard. And then I knew that I wanted to do a social post. So the social post is 1080 by 1080. So it's very simple. And then all you have to do from there is line up artboards that have all the elements on, and also artboards that will contain the color. There are a lot of artboard layouts on social media that use these really tiny artboards that are just full of color, and I really like that. It does add something to the look and feel and aesthetic of the brand and of the design in these artboard layouts. They're really quite beautiful. So there is our second artboard layout dimensions. This bottom artboard, I didn't mention, this bottom artboard is quite large. I typically like to keep artboards at a 1:3 ratio. For these tiny artboards, I kept it more for a 1:5. It's based on the dimensions that you're working with the main artboards that you want to showcase. There's one thing I did not pull over here, and that's these two. I have another setup to show you, and that is with the mobile site being the main artboard that we work from, which is our 1125 by 2436 iPhone X artboard. I created this artboard down here, which is 1920 by 1080. That is our website. There's also this custom one that I created, which has the same dimensions of 1920, but the height of it is only 325. So that one's based on a 1:6 ratio. I kind of like to keep the dimensions within the same dimensions of the artboards I'm working with. And then we have social posts in the top center with the 600 by 600 square. Regardless of the actual size of the box, it is square, so you'll still be able to have it as a social post. And then we have these color artboards up here, which are a 1:3 ratio of 600 width by 200 height pixels. These I'm going to create our color swatches at the top here and duplicate them across. And these are just the main colors. Let's go ahead and grab our website design down here and duplicate it, Control-C, Control-V. Make sure you click on the artboard that you are working on so that way it pastes on the right one. So there is our website artboard. There is something when it comes to creating these. You will be messing with little tiny minute spacing. Under Edit, in Preferences, there is keyboard shortcuts. You can set your own. So I have mine set here. You can set your keyboard shortcuts to anything you want. For instance, the pen tool, you can just click over here under shortcut and I can type in the letter P, and that will be for pen tool. That will set up as a keyboard shortcut for myself. So if I press OK, it'll ask me, are you sure? I'll say yes, and you press the P key on the keyboard and it will come up with the pen tool here. Definitely set up your keyboard shortcuts because they will save you so much time. For this element here where it has just this block, I want to take this element and I want to pull it through here. I'm going to duplicate it around and kind of create this element here, which I think is very cool. I do want to change them up and move them so you have different angles and viewpoints of it. With this middle one, in the properties panel, there is a shortcut for flipping your elements. If you're not doing this, you need to do this. Under the transform section in the properties panel, there are these two icons, flip horizontally and flip vertically. You don't have to go through a whole bunch of different panels to find these. Just go into the properties panel and flip it. It is really that simple. I'm going to pull this up, pull this down, pull this down. We're going to use our clipping mask options. Let me get a solid color just to make it easier for you guys to see. Square shape tool, you can also set the square shape tool to have a keyboard shortcut as well. I do suggest you doing that. Mine is 4. A quick tip for you all, if you don't want to have to click and drag to get your shapes to the exact precise size of your artboard, like if you don't want to waste time doing that, you can just click and drag on the artboard any size that you want. Go up to the top toolbar up here and you can transform it however you want. I know this is 1920. For the width, and then for the height, it was 325. And now that we have that perfectly set, choose our keyboard shortcut for our selection of selecting everything in the current selected artboard, create the clipping mask. Control 7 is for me. It might be different for you. That creates the clipping mask for the entire board. Remember your keyboard shortcuts for selecting all on active artboard and also creating a clipping mask, because those will help you the most with creating these beautifully made artboard layouts. Add these elements here by duplicating them. And for stacking orders, if any of you are working with your layers panel and you don't know how to change the stacking order, or you're going in and you're clicking and dragging the layers above and below other layers like such, stop doing that. It's very simple. It's a Control Shift or Command Shift right bracket, Control Shift Command Shift left bracket. If your keyboard shortcuts are different, then it's just going to be under Object, Arrange, and then Bring to Front or Send to Back. Those are going to be your most used. If you only want to bump it up or down one layer at a time, then it's just Control right bracket, Control left bracket, or whatever your keyboard shortcut is under the Arrange option under Object. Bring over a new dimension over here. There we go. Using our keyboard shortcuts. Always use your keyboard shortcuts. There we are. There are going to be times where you have elements and you want to move them certain increments. In order to move this from jumping such big gaps, go to Edit at the top toolbar, Preferences, go to General. Instead of it being 200 pixels, you can do it to 50 pixels and it will jump only slightly. So you can incrementally move it however many pixels you choose. You can even set this to 10 pixels if you want to be that precise, so it jumps only a little bit. I'll zoom in so you all can see it better. So it'll jump 10 pixels at a time, so that way you have more control over moving certain elements. But under Preferences, under Grids and Guides, you can also set up different custom colors for both of these, for your guides and for your grids. I set it up for my guides. I have a beautiful green. So let's pull some grid lines here. And you can see that mine are these bright greens. I'm going to make sure that this is aligned to the artboard. When you're in the alignment option panel up at the top, it's typically at the top, or you can do it in the properties panel. There is different options for aligning to. So you can align to an artboard or you can align to a selection. I'm going to align to the artboard because I want this to be central to the artboard. Same thing for this one here. I'm going to make it central to the artboard. For moving these incrementally by pressing your keyboard arrow keys, you can also change that setting within the properties panel. It will showcase it to you over here, right where it says keyboard increment. You can even put that down to 1 pixel, 5 pixels, 2 pixels, whatever you want. For the social posts, this was our clipping mask. Now, if you wanted to only select the clipping mask itself, you can go into your layers panel, select only the clipping mask bounding box. Change it to the dimensions of our artboard, either by clicking and dragging it, or there's a faster way. In your properties panel, you can change it from the width and the height that it is and type in the width and the height that it should be. And you can move it over. And you can always double click in to your clipping mask. By selecting the clipping mask and double clicking in, you can then move all the elements you wish to. So I double clicked into my clipping mask to move this object. If you ever find that you are just constantly clicking too much, you can always just press escape and it takes you right out. Escape always gets you out of everything. So there is our final layout with your mobile site, your website, a banner for a website if you want a banner. It's kind of a cool banner to have. And then 3 social posts with the colors. Definitely try out creating some fun, unique artboard layouts for yourself. Base it around the designs you already have made and make custom size artboards to fill in the gaps in your layouts. I hope you all enjoyed this video. There are plenty of other keyboard shortcuts and tips and tricks that you should know within Illustrator. So if you would like to know more, give this video a thumbs up if you want me to showcase more of those. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all soon, creatives.